A Doom clone is, hang on, let's see here. Games that mimic Doom's gameplay. In other words, most early first-person shooters. Right, yeah, that small little game that would take the world by storm in 1993. And where the gaming world had to accept that Doom became a genre in the early to mid-90s, the non-gaming world had a word that they could finally use to describe the future of our world should games like Doom be allowed to continue their unprecedented reign on the kids of their age. Basically, if your game had guns, enemies that you could shoot with said guns, and a series of levels that you could power your way through, it was a Doom clone. Don't get me wrong, Doom clone actually can be seen as a term of endearment. And with everyone wanting to jump on the bandwagon, like, you know, a Twitch streamer when a new game becomes a giant fad, you've got to think outside the box if you want to find success. Enter Marathon. Now I know what you're thinking here. Marathon just looks like Doom in space. And yeah, you'd be right. Guns, non-human, humanoid enemies to shoot, and interesting level designs, yeah. But one of the things that sets Marathon apart from the other games is that it was made by a small little indie company called Bungie. I joke, but Bungie really wasn't the biggest company at the time. See, before Bungie became Microsoft's ace in the hole, it was just this little thing, headed by Jason Jones and Alex Soropian. They'd lived a college lifestyle, they'd eat healthy, drink healthy, get plenty of exercise, all while churning out a game that would end up with a very small but very devoted audience. And Bungie did have their successes. There was this game, for example, Pathways into Darkness, spiritual predecessor to the Marathon games. And here we have Minotaur, the Labyrinths of Crete. But let's be real, it was Marathon that put Bungie on the map. It makes sense when you think about it. I mean, it might just be a Doom clone, but because Jason Jones decided to be a Macintosh master race enjoyer, this so-called Doom clone was released in a very, very untapped market. Hang on, can you feel my heart? Memes, meme. Oh, fuck it. Okay, how does Marathon actually compare to Doom, platforms aside? It's tougher. Less enemy variety, maybe more enemy ranks though. Friendly units? It is chock full of completely optional story terminals because Bungie. It's set in space. Well, yep, but how does the average PC peon fan get their hands on such a game? 2 words, Aleph 1. In short, Marathon went open source, and these folks decided to continue the project, giving us all free Marathon games. And well, it's free. I don't know, I obviously want people to enjoy and support the official product. I guess if you really want to spend money on such a game, then Marathon Durandal is on the Xbox Live Marketplace. Fair warning though, I'm pretty sure you're locked at 30 frames per second, but you quickly get used to it. Unlike this fucking setting. Now, I'm not good enough to commit to a certain pledge, but I am maybe good enough to acknowledge the existence of no difficulty other than total carnage. But there will be some rules, because Bungie just has some weird mechanics. 1. I am mouse looking, because it came with the 1994 version of the game. 2. There's these health stations. I'm going to try and use each station only once. Rule 3. Dit over these things called pattern buffers. I'll explain later. And rule 4 is that I reserve the right to void rule 2 and 3 if I consider the game maybe a little too tough, but it's still going to be total carnage all the way. Again, I'm not that good at this game. Oh hey, cool splash screen, but then straight into it. You spawn, simple room, pistol. I mean, it's about as good as Doom's pistol, but now you have to reload. So fuck it, punch these enemies. Commit space rip and tear. Most of these enemies only melee you anyway, these, 4. I'm pretty sure it's meant to be 4. You also got these terminals. Hello Leela, aka voice in our head, kind of. Just think Cortana minus the holographic boobs. Her first terminal does a good job in explaining why you're here, what you're doing, and builds the story from there nicely. Hey, our ship is under attack and you're a security officer, so please do your job, dummy. She's also meant to have 2 AI brothers, but they've just gone AWOL because,
I will find us a covered wagon and horses if you two can manage not to kill each other while I'm gone.
Oh, please. We're not children. He shouldn't die. Yes, fuck you.
I for one am okay with these terminals, it's just, I don't know, a different touch I guess. Like imagine hitting that first switch in Doom and being met with something like this. Marathon makes it work though. Nice and easy levels to begin with though, not overly complicated, you know, good stuff. Need a replacement for your pistol? The assault rifle is in level 2. Aptly named Bigger Guns Nearby. Hooray! Another weapon I'm not really going to use that often. It's not that it's a bad weapon, it's just that, well, Marathon is stingy with ammo. I say bad, this AR does suck at anything other than point blank range. So I like to save it for these enemies. These, what the fuck? Surfeit. Thank you, internet wikis.
Nice and easy levels to begin with though, not overly complicated, you know, good stuff.
Bigger guns nearby, it's a fairly average designed level. Maybe a bit linear, but this corridor can be pretty nasty though. Newer players will realise you have to gun your way out of this one. But then you get to level 3, never burn money, and holy crap these fighters! I'm sure they're just sparring with each other, you know, how bros do. The third pattern buffer this level, like holy crap that's generous. So that was Arrival. Story wise we repelled initial borders, got a decent weapon and some defense chips. Counter-attack is a big chapter. Yeah, this game uses chapters instead of episodes. I mean, that's cool. Quite distracting from the point that is, I've been punching most of these enemies. So here's why. As I mentioned before, Marathon is stingy with ammo. I guess it's because no enemy ever drops ammo for your guns. Seriously, if it's at all possible, try to only ever punch the fighters. And if you're feeling ballsy, the compilers too, I guess. This sounds like an ordeal, but the payoff is worth it. Defend this puzzle in a FPS level designers. You want the solution? Mindlessly flick the switches, abuse Marathon's floaty physics, and brute force it. Only to be met with Leela saying, "Fuck you, do your job." It's fine, it's just 3 of these rooms. They're actually so quick to commit civil war on each other. It's great! And another way of saving ammo. It's all necessary, trust me. Relying solely on your weapons and their ammunition means you're going to run empty by the end of a particular level. You want to try and gun all these guys down? Go ahead. Again, the 4 fighters are melee only. If only they were not upgraded, then they'd go down in 1 punch. But that's total carnage for you. I may have mentioned that the enemies have certain ranks in this game. Well, one of the many intricate difficulty changes is that on Total Carnage, the enemies that spawn have a 100% chance of being upgraded. In contrast, the other end of the scale, Kindergarten, gives a chance for enemies to just not spawn. And if they do spawn, the suckers might be forcefully demoted, so cool. Generally speaking, these promotions only really affect enemy health, but since the Marathon engine scales your punch damage with your movement speed, a good single running punch can easily take down one of the green fighters. I mentioned this before, but a big difference other than health is the specific compilers and their shots. Leela seems to be carrying everything when it comes to all systems aboard this ship. What is going on with Durandal and Tycho? Oh. Well, that's a depressing bit of news. Depressing music, I love it. And a depressing level design. Oh, son of a bitch, I've gone back a level. So yeah, big plot twist, but the level itself? Tight and cramped, that's okay. Until these guys show up, the troopers introduced this level, with their yeet grenades and their surprisingly inaccurate hit scan weapon. Alright, we were denying a rampant AI their functions. Man, this must be a real ball ache for Leela. Speaking of ball ache, the big ball ache of Total Carnage though, the upgrade to the compilers. All the shots are now homing. And I believe that Total Carnage makes the homing shots track a lot harder. So basically we're dealing with promoted enemies, with more than their base health as well, faster projectiles, more frequent attacks, and harder tracking homing shots. Oh, and there's no hit stun. Cool, because total carnage. So with the sheer amount of health your enemies have, their increased aggression, no ammo drops from these enemies either, access to 2, maybe 3 weapons at this point. All this with the aforementioned need to punch kinda means, well, this game can become a slog in the early parts. But Rose kinda highlights this really. It is pretty big. And our objective here is to, save the Bobs. You know, Leela, I would try and bullshit my way out of this by saying they got in my way, but they really did get in my way. So far this Total Carnage run has been just about under control, kinda. Never mind my self-imposed rules. These health stations will always fill your health up to max, which is why I've decided to try and use them only once. And these pattern buffers, they're basically quick saves. And with unlimited usage, you could just use one after killing one enemy, so it's kind of scummy. So again, using each pattern buffer only once. I don't know, I do break those 2 rules as I said before. And yet there are still moments where the game will absolutely kick my ass. Like this level, smells like napalm, tastes like chicken. The most annoying thing about this level, apart from it being 2 mazes either side of a center area, are these wasps. They were introduced in level 3, but are really annoying in this level, because I can't keep up with them vertically, and they shoot really quickly. I don't know, there's just too many wasps here. I break my rule here. 1 extra pattern buffer usage, 1 extra health station usage. I can understand if you find it scummy, don't get me wrong, but I'm trying desperately not to retreat to the health station after every fight. Here is the reason the level is named as such, in a secret. Cold Fusion is likely to keep you in the starting area for a good 5 or 10 minutes because, you know. I would honestly say there's no shame in looking up a guide for this level, only to realise that the buttons can be hit by your assault rifle's grenades. Well, that's just rude. This level is actually kind of insane for its verticality. I gotta say, this is impressive for a 1994 game. And fun fact, you're meant to get the Zeus pistol here. I didn't, for some reason. Unusually, Leela's not bothered. Imagine if Dead Simple was just named that way ironically. I mean, yeah, it's a 4-square design. Simple. But you only have access to certain segments of the map, and the switches that you need to hit are just on opposite ends. You have to dodge compilers, hunters, and troopers. Oh, and that's what that blue bar does. It's your oxygen because you're in a vacuum. And in case you weren't getting shafted enough, the game decides to take away your assault rifle because, space, I guess. Oh, of course your assault rifle still works. You want to see if it'll still work when I jam it right up your ass? Actually, the fusion pistol's not too bad. Ooh, dual-wield magnums, nice. Now they're just slightly worse than the other worst weapon in the game. Right, let's just recap the story during counterattack. We inserted the defense chips we gathered earlier. We took action against one of our own rampant AI. We, defended some Bobs. Sealed off some airlocks. Picked up another weapon, and suffocated ourselves activating a satellite dish. Alright, Leela, what's next? Oh, hey, Durandal, sup? More exciting? Sounds like you're making me do the same shit. And with vague farewells to you too, Durandal. I told you it was the same shit, and you know, you should go see someone about that rampancy problem you're having. I guess that detour didn't last too long. I wonder how Leela's doing. No, at this point I'd say par for the course. Oh, you son of a bitch game, relying only on pattern buffers for saving. Not wanting to see the reprisal screen come up every time. Obviously I used this pattern buffer twice. Reprisal is, well, it's short and blunt. Oh yeah, 2 levels, 2 objectives, and that's fine until it's another Bob rescue mission. And then we stop the 4 from planting a bomb in the engineering section. But yeah, Bob BQ. Jason Jones, you cruel bastard. You know, just out of the blue, I suddenly understand why people kill these bobs. Haha, this ending. Move quickly or get crushed. And then get your path blocked by 2 hunters. Right, I get failing the first time, Lena, but this time you can go to hell with that. Alright, shake before using. Finally getting some use out of my dual pistols here. Oh, come to me. Give me that glorious purple stuff. It was nice knowing you, glorious purple stuff. It's at this point I noticed something. Marathon will only ever send 2 to 3 types of enemies to you per level. Troopers and wasps have a tendency to not show up for quite a few levels at a time. Maybe there's some attention to detail I'm missing there, but it's a nice touch from Bungie. In fact, the more I think about it, the more Bungie did an impressive job with Marathon. Probably one of the earliest games I know of with a visible magazine count. No manual reloading, no. Independent fire modes, spray them and yeet them. There's the dual wielding I mentioned earlier. Vertical aiming, mouse support, you know, this is all a thing in 94. The overshield and oxygen mechanics. Shooting the switches. Marathon actually achieved quite a few technological firsts. Or seconds. Close enough? The scary thing is, Bungie were willing to compromise gameplay and mechanics for storytelling. Yeah, it's good to see you doing okay there, Durandal. Anyway, shake before using. Slowly punching your way through these compilers and fighters is, well, it's worth it. Oh right, Reprisal's only 2 levels. Oh, there's a nice attention to detail. Wasps love the lava. I actually consider wasps the most annoying enemy in this game. I don't know, they just attack really quickly. Ah, the troopers are back again. Oh, and lookers. They were introduced in Shake Before Using, and they're basically walking mines. Here, you want to see a hipster version of rocket jumping? Yeah, another out-of-the-box Bungie thing that really separated Marathon from the other games at the time. I know, rocket bouncing is a thing in Doom. I can think of 2 reasons as to why grenade hopping kind of stayed as grenade hopping. 1, Marathon is a Mac game, it probably didn't have such a wide audience as the PC FPS games. And 2, you do take a lot of damage. But Bungie knows you can do this. Yeah, I see that pattern buffer that's inaccessible until you yeet yourself. Because of the damage, this is likely the first and only time I properly use grenade hopping. Jason Jones level for sale. Boring. Its soundtrack is also the depressing one, Swirls, so makes sense. The level's okay, despite the puzzle. A bit wasp infested. Yeah, you know what, Chief? I think I'm just gonna pat and buffer here twice. Again, I do feel really bad that I'm semi-scumming the game this way, but I do want to make this absolutely perfectly clear. I am not a vidmaster. This is not a vidmaster attempt. Despite not being anything close to a vidmaster, allow me to recite the pledge. I pledge to punch all switches, to never shoot where I could use grenades, to admit the existence of no level except total carnage, to never use caps lock as my run key, and to never, ever leave a single Bob alive. In layman's terms, it's total carnage with some self-imposed rules. Said rules can be open to interpretation. The set in stone ones seems to be total carnage only and you're cold starting every level. And then grenades only is a bit open to interpretation because sometimes you need to shoot. Same for kill all the bobs. Hey, if you want, fists only for example, or kill absolutely everything. Yeah, any vidmasters that just happen upon my video will notice my defensive playstyle and immediately be like, haha, no. And rightly so, again, this is just me playing total carnage with a few rules of my own. Anyway, there's not much plot at this point. Durandal just keeps making us run levels because he feels like it. There's a reference in this terminal, but I'll be honest, it's flying right over my head. Abekidam gets annoying. Lots and lots of tight angles. Wasps ready to guarantee a hit around said corners. These lookers start to really bust my balls because you can never see them. Oh, that's not human blood. Hey, who wants to play a game? Pick a pillar for me. Did you pick right? Congratulations, you're dead. Alright, neither high or low is pretty cool actually. Oh fuck, even the lookers can be invisible. And the combination of hunters and wasps can be rather deadly. Hang on, hold on a second. Yeah, yeet. Nice. But both of those pale in comparison too. This chunky son of a bitch, no wonder they called it Spanker. Best rocket launcher in FPS history? Maybe not. Most satisfying rocket launcher to use? Definitely. Oh, and about the flamethrower, it's great versus fighters. A great alternative to the rifle so I can save some ammo. And I guess at this point I'm done with falling back to my fists. Oh, hey, Durandal, what part of the marathon was this again? Oh right, the 4 spaceship part of the marathon, gotcha. For your eyes only, it sets a trend for the next few levels. 1. All the alien spaceship levels have to have a 4 pun. 2. The penultimate enemy is introduced in this game, the Enforcer. If you manage to not jib them, they drop the final weapon in the game, the alien gun. It's the only effective weapon against the Enforcers, and they have a weird ammo mechanic to them. Another cool little attention to detail, don't expect to find human ammo on this ship. Doom with their bullets and rockets in hell, fuck that. And in all these spaceship levels you have a rather awkward way of ending the level. Wanna scare your friend? Tell him to do this secret. It's fine, they're inactive. Durandal really is watching your every move. And will not just teleport you out after one room, you have to uncover most if not all of the map. So it's pretty awkward to find that where you spawn in is where you need to go to get out of the level. No artificial colours. Unfortunately there was some artificial workarounds. I'm high-key worried about Leela to be honest. Good to know you have your priorities straight, Durandal. Good to know you're still an ass. Another horde of wasps, great. But yeah, this bridge, I'm pretty sure it's meant to rise all the way up. And they obviously knew this because they put teleporters in. In fact, there's a long line of teleporters here. You take them all in. Holy crap! In true marathon fashion, I failed to notice the new weapon that's meant to be introduced in this level, the flamethrower. Usually all this ammo means just one thing, a big fight ahead. But because Bungie, the different approach here is that you have to go through 2 alien spaceship levels in a row. Unforgiven, nice reference if intended. I make it extremely hard on myself though. Not wanting to get sent back to the previous level constantly, I hastily make it to this pattern buffer. And I proceed to regret it for the next 20 minutes. Then you've got 2 times 2 equals. Yeah, it took me a while to get this one. It seems like a typical Durandal level design really. You're going on a rampage in a single path that loops back on itself, and then you look for the marathon. Story-wise, the 4th chapter, well, we're basically just being sent back and forth between the marathon and the 4th spaceship that Durandal captured. Durandal is looking for someone called Bernard Strauss, which I believe is the person that made Durandal go rampant. After 2 levels, the hunt's gone cold, so Durandal sends us back to get some ammo. Beware of low-flying defense drones. God, I forget these exist. Thank you, Durandal, for toying around with them. The whole point of this level is just to gather ammo. The primary objective is optional, you can leave this level almost immediately. So while Durandal gives you a chance to regroup, I've got to regroup my thoughts on Marathon as we head into the end. Because I've no idea how well the Macintosh could handle Marathon back in the day, but I would not at all be mad if I was left with this over Doom. Seeing large groups of fighters every other level can be boring, but the combat just more than makes up for it. It might just be because of how quickly you burn through your ammo, but all of the weapons feel so good in their own right, like a Zeus against the hunters, or the flamethrower when you want to commit a war crime on the fighters. It just feels really good that there was no shotgun that could just carry you through the entire game. I mean, yeah, the assault rifle with both mouse buttons held down is gonna take down most enemies, because most of them are just sit back and fire projectiles at you enemies. But Bungie are geniuses. I think back to why Habikidam is painful, or why Phorophobia isn't that scary without a pattern buffer. And I feel it's just down to how Bungie placed their enemies, with extreme care and consideration. I'm not saying other games didn't, but consider the fact that Bungie didn't need keycards for their levels. And then consider the fact that Bungie would only send 4 types of enemies to you per level at most. They may have been willing to sacrifice gameplay for storytelling, but aside from the millions of fighter clones, and I guess if you don't like the linear levels, that counts, I don't see how the gameplay got compromised. Alright, break time's over, it's time for, Euphoria, and its bastard of a start. It's another level that sics both hunters and wasps on you, and shit is cramped, it's really hard to dodge anything. So I guess if you can, just run right up to the hunters. Yeah, admittedly I don't 100% understand how the hit stun works in this game. I just, instinctively stay away from the heavy armored enemy. Anyways, I saved this pattern buffer until I'd explored like 95% of the level. Unfortunately, this is a repeat health station usage as I prepare for the next level, which is Phorophobia. So I mentioned earlier how Phorophobia wasn't as bad as I remembered. The scariest part about this level is the information that there is not a single pattern buffer or health station in this level. But that's not so bad when you realise the worst enemy you're up against is the Enforcer. Other than that, it's just fighters and compilers. The latter can be easily avoided. So if you're feeling particularly cruel... Oh hey, it's that Cyborg 4 that Durandal wanted us to destroy. And thus the Suffer are no longer under 4 control. You can snipe it with a rocket if you want, but you've still got to go through the rest of the level. Because Durandal, if you don't fancy jumping down into that room of many enforcers, get the secret invisibility. Then make your first rocket count. You ain't got no more time for this alien spaceship. This is not that big a map, but yes, you do have to take both branches. Yeah, you need to uncover this little bit, otherwise Durandal will not teleport you. Left is the main route though. And obviously we're not leaving before we cause some more damage, shutting down this egg incubator before we make a run for it. Welcome to the revolution. We have swirls. Cool, the compilers are still allied. They do kind of help. They're still a lot more durable than Bob's, so they got that going for them. Yeah, there's not much to say about Welcome to the Revolution though. It's just incite chaos in the revolt that's happening in one room, move to the next, rinse and repeat. So here's a little secret. Jump into this lava, shoot the switch, and somehow defeat all of these hunters without taking too much damage. Your reward? An out-of-reach terminal, accessible only by a rocket jump. Do you see now why I said don't take too much damage? But why is this terminal that is out of reach so important? It's one of the many conversations between Durandal and Tycho, the latter of which is pretty upset. So cool, the compilers, they're our help now, yeah? Yeah? Bungie says no. Try again is rather bold. It's the penultimate level, but it's probably the most climactic. Much like Shawn Michaels vs Undertaker at WrestleMania 25, except Bungie does have a pretty cool last level. Anyways, you've got a lot of hunters to deal with. They're sicking enforcers on you now. They're really desperate. So desperate, in fact, that I'm gonna go off on a limb here and say that you intend to hurt me badly. It's the Juggernaut. Yeah, homing rocket seems fair, yeah. Tough son of a bitch, aren't you? And when they do finally go down, there's only one pattern buffer in this level, and I do use it again at the very end of Try Again. If I could somehow do this level and Ingu Farouk without dying, I would consider the Vidmaster challenge. Hey buddy, go ahead and grenade jump on that weird pillar on its own. Trust me. See? Easy invulnerability. Not that I'm able to use it though. But this extra 3x station is absolutely wonderful. Leela, is everything okay? Oh good. Yes, it is great that the four are in full retreat. It is excellent fun cleaning up the stragglers right now. Ingu Farouk, by Ingu and Sword. Sorry, Jason Jones. This might be one of my favourite linear levels ever, and it might be mostly because of the music. You're just slaying troopers and fighters. Within 3 rings, a little bit of a maze. Hey there, faithful viewer that somehow made it this far. Pick a teleport for me. Trick question, they all go to the final ring. Little bit of a lava run. And yo, this is it. This terminal ends the game. Yeah, Ingu Farouk is just you continuing to kill off any straggling four. But we've unfinished business here. Did you really think I'd miss the most important terminal in the game? No, not Durandal saying farewell. I mean, I'm sure we'll see each other again soon. No, we backtracked to the portals. Double trick question, the answer was none of them. You use this panel, you enter a maze that's like room on room, if the room on room had taken a bunch of LSD. And you basically get teleported into death. Nah, we're persevering though. This switch unlocks a pattern buffer for you at the very start of the level. And why is this terminal so important? Because it's basically a credits roll. It's just got that magic Bungie touch. Alright, let's end this game then, guys. That's it, the four have definitely given up on this. They're out of here. And while they've got their tails between their legs... Of course Durandal's laughing. Why wouldn't he be laughing? Because, you know, he decides he needs you more than Leela does. So he goes full Samuel Hayden on you. Because, you know, Marathon 2 Durandal needs to happen somehow. But that's a future thing. And much like most other people on YouTube, etc., I have no idea how to do an outro. And since I don't have right now, or don't plan on having a Patreon, I guess the people I've really got to thank are... the people at Bungie for making this game, the people on Twitch and various Twitch communities that convinced me that YouTube is important, yourself again if you're still there, you know... And my close IRL friends who do their own YouTube content and indirectly inspire me to continue this project. I know I'm waffling on, but you really should go and check out